I was told that I had given a friend of mine an STD, which was not true, but at the time I was told that I needed to have penicillin. He took me to the hospital where they proceeded to give me shots. A male nurse gave me the shots. I was fine at first, but as he gave me more shots, I started feeling weird and told him something was wrong. He tried to assure me that there was nothing wrong, but the room started spinning, and I got a death grip on his stomach while saying, "Make me believe it." I was on my stomach, and I started having convulsions, which were so strong that my legs were buckling up under me and hitting my chest. Because I had my hand on the nurse's stomach, he couldn't get to a call button, but the sound of convulsions did, and someone came rushing into the room and said, "Oh my God." By this time, I could not see anything in the room, only a tunnel with a bright light at the end of it. About that time, 2 other people came into the room. I knew I was hyperventilating and trying to stay calm, but I had a great deal of pain. I always somehow knew things. Not what was happening, but what it was. That somebody died, or that I needed to wait to start a trip, only to find a big wreck that I would have been in the middle of. When my daughter was 2 years old and I was pregnant with my son, my grandfather died. I had no details about the services and kept hesitating to go, but finally, I decided to just go. While I was gone, I left my car in front of my aunt's house and went with my parents. When we returned, there was a wreck with another 4-month pregnant woman. She had been hit and knocked into the opposite bank of a sand wall. One of the cars hit my car. I knew something was wrong, but I went anyway. I have always had these abilities and could tell you a dozen things that have happened, mostly before the death experience. I can't consider it a near-death experience because I died. I left my body. I was absolutely angry when they brought me back. While out of my body, I had no more pain and the most incredible sense of peace that I have ever known. I was told later that I had a heart seizure during all of this. In the tunnel, I saw a picture of my heart beating and a shadow, like a roll-top desk being pulled down over the light. Every time I would calm myself, the shadow would lift slightly, but go down progressively as this proceeded. I was terrified. I continued to see my heart and the shadow going down. They must have been able to tell that I was dying, because they kept saying things like, "Oh my God," while they held me down and gave me adrenaline, I think. They were hitting all my pressure points with it and held me down until the convulsions stopped. As I heard them trying so hard to save me, I started talking. Peace had come over me that I can't explain, and I said, "It's okay. It's not your fault. This was supposed to happen. It's okay." By this time, the shadow was almost completely covering the light, and I said, "And the lights went out." I left my body and went out into what looked like a beautiful star-filled night with the most incredible peace. I had no more pain. I had accepted death. I believe the only way a person can die is to accept it. Suddenly, I was yanked back to my body and came to gray as a guy I had seen who was dead from a heart attack. I knew it had happened. I knew it was real. They denied anything that happened at the time, but I got to know the male nurse on purpose to get him to discuss it with me. I asked him later how long I was gone, and he said about 3 minutes. I said, "I did leave, didn't I?" He responded that I had gone and died. At that time, I was terrified to get another shot for any reason. He told me I had given myself a heart murmur because of the heart seizure, and for several years you could hear it. The doctor said that it would heal. However, every once in a while, I get a stitch of pain under my left arm along my chest wall, where the murmur could be heard shortly after this all happened. For a while, I would start hyperventilating at the thought of anything that scared me, especially shots, drugs, etc., with needles. I had bad dreams and was so terrified. I needed help, so I contacted a mental health clinic. I went to see a psychologist. The first thing she said when I started to panic was, "I could help you, but I won't," which made me panic even more. She said that I had to control it because I could die from hyperventilating. She could not help me. Only I could help me. So I stopped hyperventilating and started talking to her. We talked for a long time and discussed fears from earlier in my life. I discovered that the fear dated back to about age 5, when my sister had hepatitis and got a gamma globulin shot, which I thought had made her worse. This phobia, and an experience at the dentist, where a needle got twisted in my gums, made me unconsciously terrified of needles. Anyway, I went on with her for about 4 sessions, and then joined her group sessions. After a year, I was dealing well with all my fears, and had begun to handle them proactively. I will never forget this experience. I will never consider life longer than 2 minutes long, because that's about how long it took me to be dead. From that time on, after relieving the fear, I have valued my life so much more. Shortly after this happened, I met an architect apprentice who had an almost identical experience that we talked about. Since then, I have had an ectopic pregnancy and nearly died, had a direct hit by lightning, and had so many near misses that, incredibly, I am still alive. One thing I have decided is, there's a reason to be here, as I should be dead many times over. I also decided that a person has to choose to let go, to die. That does it for our first experience, moving into our second experience. Riding my bike past a golf course, I see a van run a stop sign. However, I'm unable to swerve out of his way. I'm staring through the van's windshield at the driver and hoping he doesn't hit his brakes. He does though, and now I'm flying. It's an odd sensation to be sailing through the air like some sort of awkward flightless bird. I don't remember hitting the pavement because I was distracted by the intensely bright column of white light shining out of the top of my body's head. I have only a moment to grasp that I'm outside of my body, and then, swoosh, I'm sucked up the column of light like an envelope in a pneumatic mail tube. I'm standing in a place of love. It's completely enveloping, and I'm thoroughly immersed in feelings of loving acceptance, calmness, and of being home, of belonging. There's a glow of golden light ahead of me in the distance, and I need and want to get there. But as I take a step forward, a golden being blocks my way. Humanoid in shape, there are no features, no clothes, nothing but a glowing being who exudes an overwhelming sense of calm and agape love. The right hand of the being is raised palm outward in a stopping motion, and in my head, I hear, "You must go back." I'm devastated. I don't want to go back. I want to stay in this place of love. It shakes its head, hand still in that stop position, and in my head, I hear, "It's not yet your time. You must go back." "No, please. I want to stay." I think back, and suddenly there is a horrible shrieking sound that pierces my head. I'm back in my body, which is lying on the street, and I'm screaming. EMTs and other people are hovering around me, and the driver of the van is on his cell phone. I was only gone for a few seconds, maybe a minute, yet it seemed longer. The feelings of disappointment, of missing out on something stupendous, were strong. I need and want to get back, to stay. But until then, the short trips I now take seem to help me. Each time I've stepped over the barrier between this life and the next, it's been to help someone who is dying. Since the accident, I've found myself acting as a guide to those crossing over. I understand their fears, and it has helped me overcome mine too. I feared that it wasn't real, that it was a dream, and that I'd never get that loving feeling back. But I can, and I do, and that has helped me overcome the horrible disappointment I felt in having to come back. I now know that I can cross over there and experience those feelings again and again. And once I'm done with my life here, I know what's waiting for me, so I'm not afraid. And I'm not afraid to help others with their fears either. That does it for today's experiences. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay safe and continue to be blessed.